Too many have won more matches on the planet the last 6-7 years than this guy right here. Took a little speed off there than what I think we're going to see from Josh Filler most of the event when it comes to breaking the balls. This the one on the side, I think partially snookered here. Possibly not. Of course, John Moody is the junior. His dad also has won a match and will play SVB on the other end. So the family's getting the entire package here on day one. Moody Sr., who plays Shane later today, has been involved in the U.S. Open for a long time. Has been a guy that's helped direct the tournament, run the tournament, has played in it many times.
Joshua Filler, former winner of this title in Las Vegas back in 2019. One thing I always remember about that was he'd been a little controversially perhaps left out of the Mosconi Cup team just a few months prior to that, and he actually along the way beat 3 of the 5 players who were on the European team that he'd just been left out of. Probably made it all the sweeter.
Yeah, and I think at that time it was very hard to pick so many players from Europe, and you know, it's easy as a captain to look at Josh Filler and say, hey, this guy's going to make a ton of teams, you know, so maybe if I'm on the fence a little bit. But of course, it wasn't no hack that he got replaced by. I think it came down between him and Niels, I believe, was kind of the the argument.
Yeah, when I say it was controversial, maybe it was really just controversial for Josh himself. He's someone who would always want to be in teams, but of course he's had many great Mosconi moments since then.
Yeah, and you know what makes it controversial also is afterwards, you know, Niels didn't have his best Mosconi, and you know, that's always going to make for more of an argument. But nice safety to open there. Got a fortunate ball in hand on an unlucky scratch from Josh, but now Josh really up in the trees here, trying to find some kind of path at the blue 2. Still a race to 9. That'll change later in the week. And he wants to hit right before the side here off the left side rail, trying to drag the cue ball at the 2.
Race to 9, as you say, and whoever gets there will be through to the winner's qualification round. You get through that, you're in single elimination, which means the final 64. And from there, it's straight knockout all the way. No second chances after that. So John Moody, as you said, has won a match already today. That was against Jeffrey Youngblood. Now that's a name. He's got a career in movies. 9 racks to 6, that one.
Yeah, and I've known John for a while, and knowing his dad, I'm sure he started playing pool at a very young age. And again, his dad has won a match here today as well. Plays SVB later on. Carries a nice demeanor around the table. Not going to get in too much of a hurry, but you wouldn't call him someone who plays slowly. Just going to try and get himself a little more comfortable. Probably keeps it simple here. Missed ball, and I don't think he got away with it. We'll see. Now Josh is on 2 fouls, just in case something crazy happens here of some type of foul. 3 consecutive fouls by the same player is a loss of game. Don't see it very, very often at this level, but it does come up. Of course, if you're trying to keep up with one of your favorite players or just any player a match, whatnot, you can go to matchroompool.com and see all the live scoring. All right, a little funny when you're this close, even though fairly directed at the pocket, it looks like. Yeah, easy to miss.
So a reprieve for Moody after passing up his earlier opportunity.
Yeah, that's just a little knowing the slick table. If you get into the ball, it kind of hugs a little coming off the rail and didn't release, so most likely another opportunity for Josh coming quickly. Now, Josh had a little trouble with some entry into the U.S. Visa got delayed a little bit, so he wasn't at the Connecticut tournament or the event in New York as scheduled.
He's had a lot of off-table problems. I think he and Pia were living in a hotel for something like 6 months because
6+ months, I think. Yeah.
Was it flooding in the apartment?
Yeah,
something like that.
Pipes busted, and one thing that they always say about the German and the architecture, it's so solid, right? But when you do have to make a repair, it can be a pretty immense project.
To be fair, as globe-trotting pool players, they spend most of their lives in hotels anyway, so probably quite familiar for them.
Okay, trying to get some distance here. Want the cue ball much more near the rail. So we're going to see Josh power up most likely with a draw stroke. Could go out with a high ball, but not much angle really to get the high ball moving. Maybe short side here on the 7. We'll see. Oh, he did go with a high ball. Wow, what a shot. And you'll notice, Michael, that he didn't overhit that. If you overhit it, it doesn't really move that much, believe it or not. So you have to get to trusting the ball just kind of creeping around the table, and it can be a little unnerving. And a lot of players really never get a hold of that, and that's really the difference in the real top guys.
So it's been a messy opening rack, but that little splash of quality there from Filler is probably going to result in him taking it. We always talk about the player as the underdog in a match like this. Got to get off to a good start. Moody's had his chances. I think it's particularly true against someone like Filler, who, once he gets a couple of racks in front of you and gets a bit of momentum going, you might not see him for the rest of the match. So Joshua Filler eventually takes the opening rack against John Moody Jr. Moritz Neuhausen, who partnered Filler to the World Cup final for Germany earlier in the summer, is in a bit of a battle on table 2 against the American Jesse Ingle. Neuhausen is leading, but only by 1 at 5-4. Copigny, World Masters winner, on the hill at 8-0 against Saeem Hossein. And you can see there some of the scores going through, so you can pick out your favourites. Mika Immonen, former back-to-back winner of this event, leading 7-6 against Chris Reinhold. Double world champion Torsten Homan, level at 6-all with Huma Dorner. All German clash that. Khalid Gandhi on the hill, 8-6 up against Dimitris Lukatos. He was a quarter-finalist in the UK Open this year.
Yeah, much better break off, but of course it's always gambling now with the cut break and cue ball tracking back and forth. You can see it came back into the 9, which is a common theme, but sometimes it kisses the wrong way and finds a corner pocket or a side pocket. Well, here's another opportunity, and the thing about it, Josh is definitely one of those players that gets stronger as the match goes usually and as the event carries on, but if you can keep some heat on him, he's definitely human. Occasionally you get an extra mistake here and there. It's not always the most obvious mistake. Sometimes the great players just miss position, which in turn, even if it's a kick shot, creates an opening. All right, he can handle a lot of angles on the 6th. Wants to stay away from straight. Starting to get a little flat. So probably a heavy stun off of this. Could follow the ball, but that really brings the 8-9 in play. Could go around the 8-9 actually. And that's, again, just a little knowing the table. It draws a little easier, the slick felt, and now Josh Filler with ball in hand.
Yeah, ball in hand and a fairly routine run out from here.
Pat Fleming just passed by, giving us a little wave, and a guy that was so influential in American pool in so many ways, and a big part of the U.S. Open as well. A darn fine player himself.
Well, John Moody may well reflect he could have won both of these opening 2 racks. Instead of which, he's lost them both. Joshua Filler, former winner of this US Open, leading 2-0 in the early stages of this match. Roland Garcia, experienced player from the Philippines, has beaten Masato Yoshioka of Japan 9-5. Now plays Conrad Yusashin in winners qualification. Or it's Neuhausen. A little bit of breathing space now against Jesse Ingle. Neuhausen leading 6-4.
Yeah, Reinhold on the heel, 8-7 over Mika Immonen. Chris hadn't really played a ton of tournaments this year. Said he wanted to take a little time off, but we've communicated a lot in the last few months, and he said he feels like he's playing the best he's ever played, so trying to show a little of that this week.
David Alcady, winner of the European Open, 7-2 leading now against Billy Gallagher. Jeff DeLuna, 7-4 up on Daniel Maciol, and Aloysius Yap, runner-up here a couple of years ago, 3-2 ahead of Kyle Akaloo.
And that Akaloo, he'll kind of fool you. You know, he's got a little trimmer in his arm when he's in position to play, but once that swing starts, it's pretty solid, so can't be overlooked in that match. Now it looks like Filler's going to attack to the upper left, trying to cannon the cue ball, maybe one rail into the pink 4 to hold for the 3. Looks pretty tough to me. So maybe he just plays the blue 2 around. Yeah, this is the shot I like. Chopping on the left side of the blue 2, running around the 7, trying to come back in position where he's at now with the cue ball roughly. Nice shot, trying to come behind the brown 7. May have a little sliver of the blue 2, but really nothing you can do with it, so probably playing some type of kick shot. I think just one rail behind. Now the unfortunate part of those visa issues is Pia couldn't get hers. It didn't work out. So Josh's #1 fan, and of course someone that's always right there by his side. We're going to miss her this week, but I'm sure she's tuning in.
Yeah, I think she missed the trip to Spain, didn't she, because she was trying to sort out those issues with the apartment.
You can already tell the difference maybe between what we've seen from Moody and maybe some of those early victims to some of these top players. You know, Moody made a couple mistakes, of course, missed a couple balls, but you can kind of see his presence is a little more there as far as a complete game.
Yeah, and he doesn't look uncomfortable. And we saw John Webber on the main table earlier against FSR, and even before a ball had been struck, you could see he was quite nervous about it all.
Yeah, tricky little layout now after a couple of mistakes. He's going to have to take on a couple tough shots. The first one being on the red 3. He's going to have to shoot the 2 and come above the purple 5 to get an angle to shoot the 3 to get onto the 4. But if he can get past that, it probably works through the rack. Could take a little chance going into the purple with ball in hand off of 1 cushion. I wouldn't say that's the best thing to do, but it is an option. All right, may catch a little piece of the 8. Oh, he hit it nicely. Attacked with a little inside English. And all I think is the difference is you're going to see a little more of John knowing what to do. It's just a matter if he executes or not. So here he's got to go forward and play short side, it appears. He'd love to be able to get out to the center of the table for the green 6, but no angle, so no reason to panic. What happens is little outs like this and the stuff I'm talking about, Josh recognizes that as well. So what John's done so far, especially in this rack here, now he should shoot at this. I'm really surprised he's playing the safety there. You got to attack and take that one on.
Especially if you're going to play the safety as badly as that. But has he actually left the 6 here? Does that pass the 7?
No, but Josh will keep it simple, rolling forward onto the brown 7 with the cue ball. But that one kind of shocked me. Morris Newhausen up 6-4 over Jesse Engel, and you don't know Jesse, I don't think, but he was a very good player at a young age, and one of those players that, you know, talk about is going to be a champion of some sort, and then just kind of went away from the game for several years, and now back, I think about the last year or so, trying to get back in form.
Yeah, we've seen him in some of these events. Joshua Filler, of course, was a very well-known player at a young age, but he didn't make his reputation playing shots like that, and he's probably gifted this one now to Moody. The American could have won the first rack, could have won the second. He'll be disgusted if he doesn't win the third from here.
Looks like Alcady, I think, is kind of settled in after a struggle in the first round. We've had a pretty big lead. Maybe it's over with by now.
Yeah, I was mentioning his match against Billy Gallagher. It's now 7-3 in favour of Alcady there. So John Moody taking advantage of that opportunity handed to him there. It was fairly straightforward stuff, really had to get the job done, and he has. So he's off and running, but trails 2-1. Jeff DeLuna 7-4 up on Daniel Maciol. DeLuna's done well in this in the past. Lucius Yap has done very well. He almost won it the year before last. He needs Kyle Akalu 4-2. And Khalid Al-Ghamdi, young Saudi Arabian player, has won 9-6 against Dimitris Lukatos. So having just beaten one Greek player, he'll now face another in the next round. A step up in class, though, in terms of the opposition, because he will now play Alexander Kazakis. Francesco Candela has won the first rack against Lucas Fracasso Werner, who's in the mix for that Mosconi Cup situation.
Yeah, absolutely. He's put together a lot of points, without going abroad. So you got to be impressed with that. And again, at that age, you just never know when they're going to turn the corner. Oh, cue ball got lost. Nice break off, though, the one on the side. Just maybe caught the one a little heavy. That's a easy venue to lose your concentration just looking around. As someone who loves pool and seeing all the talent in the room, it's just amazing. All right, Josh not going to take any chances. He's going to the short side on the 3 where it's really open. He doesn't have to deal with the brown 7 or the pink 4, maybe get elevated over a ball, something like that. Could just hold the cue ball there. Could draw out to the center. Yeah, I like this shot. I'll tell you, that's another reason why he won at such a young age. He likes to make the great shots. Who doesn't, right? But he really is disciplined when it comes to keeping it simple. Really kind of leans on that talent. And I think it's just a great combination for Josh Filler.
One of the great images in US Open history when he won in Las Vegas in 2019 after an absorbing final against Wu Cha-Ching, which he won after not making a great start. And then just jumping around the arena full of youth and exuberance and optimism.
Yeah, what a final it was. And looked like it was going to be hill there with the odd foul you see about once a century. And or not too often anyways.
Yeah, Wu was coming back at him. He'd won a couple of racks in a row and looked like he was going to win another one. Then leaning over a ball, just brushed off it, and it turned out to be his last involvement in that final. Back in the present day, Joshua Filler has restored his 2-rack advantage at 3-1 against John Moody Jr. in this second round encounter. Chris Reinhold still looking for one more. 8-7 up against Mika Immonen. Torsten Homan has a 7-6 lead over Yuma Dorner.
Has Shane Wolford started yet? He had a good match with Han from Singapore. Looks like they're getting ready to tee off on table number 8.
Yeah, that one just starting now. You can see some of the scores going through there. Wolford, of course, currently occupying the last automatic spot on the American Mosconi Cup team, but a number of players not far behind him.
Yeah, it's a great thing, though, that competitive nature between the players, and they're all supporting each other as well, which is fantastic. And from what I know, almost all of them are going to Hanoi. So another will be announced after this tournament as far as the points, right? And then the finals will be after a big event in Hanoi.
Well, I think we could have great races for the last automatic spot on both the American and European sides that week, the way it's shaping up. You even look at Joshua Filler, surprising, but he's down in number 8 at the moment in the European list. Now that said, it's very tight. You look at Mario He in 5th and Jason Shaw in 7th. Less than $1,000 between them, and you've got Moritz Neuhausen in between, and then Joshua Filler not too far behind all of those. So a real battle going on there. But it was surprising from Filler.
Yeah, I was going to say probably one of the maybe 3 quick strokes I've ever seen from him ever. I mean, it was obvious to me that time. A lot of times it's hard to figure out where the mistake was with Josh, but I think that one to him was pretty obvious. And when it's like that, you just leave it behind. It's not, it's one thing if we have, you're a golfer, right? So we have, a reoccurring problem, right? Like something I've been working on, now it's creeping back in, that's a concern. But something for Josh there, I think he's okay. Okay, you're going to try and really pull off to the top left. Now, this is a shot you can do on the TV table with the slick felt. Watch it kind of bend off the second rail of the cue ball. And trying to come to the back side. Yeah, really nice.
Gotta love that picture on his back there. It's the man himself in full celebratory roaring mode. It's a bit like those American Ryder Cup shirts in '99 with all the pictures of past glories on them.
Right. And kind of hopped on him, lost the line of the cue ball, so he may have to go righty here or with the crutch. The bridge.
The moose head, that's what I'm trying to get it called.
Well, that one, I don't know if that one will hold or not, but speaking about hanging around, though, Jesse Engel is doing a lot of that in that match.
Well, he's at the table with a good chance to get back to 6-5 down against Moritz Neuhausen. He's been in really good form recently, and I know you were talking about him earlier as a potential champion this week, Neuhausen.
Well, that's the thing, you talk about rookies to the Mosconi, captain has to think about that because the Mosconi is just a beast like no other. But, at the same time in our sport, much like golf, you have to look at form. And I think form can make up for someone that you might say is 5% behind in game tactics or overall, however you want to label it. But if they're in form, that makes up for a lot of that. And I think it's a good problem to have as a captain to have, a guy like Moritz coming through and making you think. But I think he's a viable pick, and we still have, 3 really strong events to look at, the U.S. Open and then both events in Hanoi. He's just edging the purple 5, and I think that World Cup of Pool really did a lot for Moritz, and just kind of opened his mind about himself really, and realized that he can do it.
Yeah, and brilliant team spirit between the two of them. They're good friends, they live near each other, and they spend a lot of time together, so I think that was a big part of it as well. If Neuhausen did make the Mosconi team, well, there's a ready-made partnership there for you. Put him with Filler.
Yeah, and that's going to be the interesting thing is those 2 wild card picks. I mean, don't get me wrong, no one's doubting that Filler can still sneak on the rankings, but it's going to be a hard proposition for him. And of course, we have a German captain this year as well on the European side.
Jesse Engel spent a long time there, lining up a 7-9 combination to try and get back to 6-5 against Moritz Neuhausen, but has missed it.
Okay, not a lot here. Here you got to kind of utilize the 7, bank the 5 up above the side, trying to leave the 5 on a long combination on the 7 while you try to kill the cue ball on this rail. Now, he may edge it just because his eyes are like eagle eyes pretty much, really. Just incredible from distance, but I like this much better. I think he's trying to play the 5 back down, bringing the cue ball maybe 2 rails behind the 6.
When you look at someone like Jesse Engel and any of the other capable but slightly less familiar American names in the field, Jeremy, I'm guessing if any of them could go on a run to last 16, even last 32, they put themselves in your thoughts to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see what type of play that was, right? I mean, but the one thing is, if any of them do that, they should realize they need to be out here anyways. And this is where they're really going to get the game they wanted, and, get their game not only better, but better under pressure and just all around. But yeah, there's a few players out there I've already thought about. Like if they start to make a run, I got to pay real attention.
And do you have people you speak to? Would you speak to the likes of Shane and Sky when you're making your choices, or do you tend to just keep your thoughts to yourself about it all? No,
absolutely discuss with those guys. I text them both, talk to them, at a few of those events I couldn't be at in the last couple of weeks. And, of course I was keeping up with as many scores as I could, or if a player was on a stream. But You know, I told him, hey, y'all are my eyes out there for anything particular, and that's not just which player should make it, but you know, if there's some technical sides of things, you know, this person needs to get better at kicking at the ball or whatever it may be. You know, I want to know.
A little bit of a tester for Moody. He'd fancy getting this one to close to 3-2, but you can see from his body language he knows he's got to take care over this.
He may have fluked it. Looked like it was heading that way. See a little twist of the wrist there on the back end, and what happens is, and you know, the players that are around it more recognize you just get a little quicker when the adrenaline's going, and you know, the guy like John's not probably going to recognize that like a man that's at the table right now.
He was just never going to turn down that pot. But that was a tough one as well. And where they finished, it looks as though Moody may well not pay any price at all for his miss. And this one still has to be potted, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to learn a lot from that last stroke. I think you're going to see a little cleaner execution.
Yeah, needed that. After the chance he'd had in his previous visit, it would have been very hard to take going 4-1 down, instead of which he's back to just one behind at 3-2. Let's have a look at this Mosconi Cup race then. We've been talking about one place already confirmed on both teams. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz for Europe, Skylar Woodward for your American team. You might wonder why Van Bonin is in second place there when he's got more points than Woodward. Well, it's because the first place went to whoever was top of the table after the European Open. And that obviously was Woodward, so they're both locked in now. So whoever's the highest, apart from FSR on the European side and apart from Woodward on the American side, at the end of this week, will then be locked in. And the same process will then apply after the Hanoi Open. So then we'll have our 3 automatic qualifiers on both sides. Only a few weeks away now before we reach that stage. And then both captains will get 2 picks. How soon after that do you have to get your 2 selections in?
You know, usually it's about a week's time. We haven't really discussed that so far, but, you know, you got to believe it. About a week's time. I mean, I think they're in Hanoi, that final one, you know, as soon as the math's done and the players that are in contention are out of it or so far in it that we know the outcome there, that'll be announced. And I think within about a week to 10 days, we'll have our other 2 players announced from both teams.
All sorts of possibilities in Hanoi. You could have a situation where you've got 2 players in the final playing for the last spot on one of those teams, or you could have one guy playing for the last spot on the European team and the other guy playing for the last automatic spot in the American team up against each other. So many possibilities as a result of that Mosconi race in Hanoi in a few weeks' time. It's going to be a great event anyway.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to ignore some things. I mean, you know, I just got to say it how it is right now, that, you know, odds are most likely could be 2 of those Europeans in a final before maybe 2 of the Americans, just the way things have gone. Now, I certainly think the Americans can do it, and they're going in the right direction to do so. But, you know, what do you do if you happen to have 2 Euros in that final? One of them gets in there on that 3rd spot, and then, you know, you have a player that maybe hasn't played a Mosconi but is way ahead on points over some others. Do you ignore those to go to, you know, a Filler or an Albin? And you got Jason Shaw in there as well. It's just be hard for me to believe that, you know, right there at Ali Pally, and he's been so instrumental on so many European wins, period. It'd be hard to ignore Jason Shaw. So there's going to be plenty for the fans to talk about here for long.
Well, I love the fact that we're having all this discussion about the teams and who's going to qualify and who's going to get the picks. And you've all the fun of that and all the entertainment it brings. And that's before you even get to the event itself, which is always so enjoyable.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible one. I know of a lot of Americans going in comparison to 2 years ago where it was very light on that American side, and I understand after pandemic and whatnot. So,
well, we were still very much in the midst of it then. I think that Omicron variant was
yeah,
the big
2021,
talk,
right?
yeah, at that time. So it was a very different world even then, although we were over the worst of it by that stage, I guess. Anyway, back here, Joshua Filler looking to reassert himself in the match. When he won this title back in 2019, he completed a double, having lifted the world title just a few months earlier. And it was a double of another sort as well, because he was the second German player to win this US Open, 17 years after Ralph Souquet had become the first.
Yeah, beating Alex Pagulayan in the final. I remember watching that one. I think the final was 15-12, maybe 15-13, I think, between the two. Extended race. One player I know I'm missing just because I love his game, and many thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands missing in the... Ooh, that one was a little questionable going to the pocket, but Eklund Kachi not here, and of course he's in recovery right now, and from what I heard, it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I heard some whispers that the talk that there was earlier in the summer that he might not play for a year seems to have gone out the window now. It looks like he'll be back much sooner than that, which is great news. Maybe not for you, of course, in one sense, with matters we've just been discussing. So Joshua Filler then goes 2 clear for the third time in the match at 4-2. Jesse Ingel is 1 behind against Moritz Neuhausen, 6-5 to the German. Tolian Han has taken the first couple of racks against Shane Wolford. Lucas Fracasso Werner 2-1 up on Francesco Candela. Mieszko Fortunski has been given a good match by JJ Fall, the Pole leading 5-3. Sullivan Clark of New Zealand 5-2 up on Bezar Spahiu. All these are in this second round.
Yeah, Pilovanovic and Patsur Vitali about to tee it off. That's it's got to be the quality match of that first loser round side.
Absolutely, and just back on the winner's side briefly, Jeff DeLuna now on the hill against Daniel Maciol at 8-6. David Alcady has won, by the way, 9-3 over Billy Gallagher.
Yeah, we'll see. I know he wants to attack. Very open center of the table. So, of course, he's missed a couple shots in the 4-2. He knows how 9-ball is, so he may elect to play the safety. That's what we have. Well, it's going to work out. He was trying to play a safety, and he hit it really well. Overhit the ball, it ran a little long, but after pocketing the 8, now in position to take a cut shot on the blue 2. Kind of hard to go up and down and hold the line on the cue ball, avoiding the pink 4. You can put a little right English, but with that speed, it's not going to grab much. So he may end up going into something here with the cue ball. Yeah, got a little quick again. Overcut it, a little miss hit on the cue ball maybe.
If you go out there as the big underdog in a match like this and you don't get a look in and you've no regrets, you can probably take that. It's disappointing, it's frustrating, but nothing to criticise yourself about. But John Moody Had plenty of chances in this match.
Yeah, in a way, a player like John, and again, I don't think we've seen his best. He's a pretty decent player overall, and pretty good player actually. And, but what happens is they think to themselves, you know, if I'm playing a guy back at my home that gives me this many chances, you know, I'm probably going to have the lead. So maybe a little of the Josh Filler and, of course, the U.S. Open, that effect is a real thing. Okay, you can see he needs more out of the cue ball. He's got to come back to short side for the 6. So a lot going on in this rack still. Going to play the bank, I guess. Little high ball. Now this is where he's so good. If you overhit it, cue ball really doesn't get there, and you lose the line on the 5. Got to really coast in there between the 9 and 6 with the cue ball. All right, going back for the jump cue. Trying to pocket this on the left side. Gonna be hard to gain position or have any like real, you know, concrete way to gain position, but I guess the emphasis has got to be on the purple 5. Oh wow, Moritz didn't get out in that last game. Kind of turned my head and just assumed he was getting out. He made a mistake. Now Jesse Ingles 6-6 and at the table.
A while back here, looks like it's going to be a familiar tale. Moody not making the most of his chances and Filler mopping up what's left. Not been 3 clear yet in this match, but should be in about a minute from now. Well, it's hardly been vintage Filler, but the early rounds are all about getting the wins, making your progress and giving yourself something to build on. Joshua Filler is more than halfway to victory now. He leads John Moody by 5 racks to 2. I mentioned David O'Cady is through. His next opponent may be Si Cha Chen, who got to the quarterfinals here last year and is currently leading Gerson Martinez 2-1. Jeff DeLuna still looking for one more, leads Daniel Maciel 8-7. Lucius Yap, 2021 runner-up, leading 5-3 against Kyle Akalu. Mieszko Fortunski now 6-4 ahead against another South African, JJ Fall.
Yeah, so that's good speed again. Excuse me, getting dialed in, and now a good shot at the blue 2. A little off angle. I think he can just go a little forward to play the 3 up long. Wants a little bit of an angle. Not a lot, just a little bit so he can get over on the pink 4.
We were talking earlier today about tips for the title, and although it didn't go for him in the end, I said you always have to consider Filler a contender for anything. Not just because his best play obviously is so good, but he never really seems to have a slump. It never seems to be very long since he's won something. Doesn't tend to go out early in events. Has recently won an event in China. And he's been doing well in a number of Matchroom events this year. Runner-up at the UK Open. Couldn't really have done much more in that final against Declan Catchy, who just played so well. Semi-finals of the European Open, beaten by Anton Raga in a close match. He's had a couple of early enough exits in some of the Matchroom events as well, particularly the World Championship where Alex Pagulayan beat him twice. But overall, he's never it seems far away from having a good run in something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, the winner's circle is a little different maybe of late, but I think it's the same as like Shane. When I watch Shane play, he's playing great. Like, I rarely see Filler, you know, make a huge, big mistake, it seems like, especially when the moment means the most. But, you know, these players are catching up. That's just how it is, and I think really the World 9-Ball Tour has a big, big part to do with that. Okay, it does cut. Looks like he's going to play the bank. Swing the cue ball around the 8. Little draw stroke.
Maybe just starting to step up his control of this match. I think what also helps from Filler's point of view, and the reason we always consider him a contender, he plays a lot. He travels around the world a lot and plays very busy schedule, and consider how young he still is. He'll be 26 next week. Obviously when you get a bit older, other responsibilities maybe come into life, so make the most of it. And of course it's not even really as if he's away from home, because he brings home with him, because Pia's there. She's often playing in some of the same tournaments, so really making hay while he's still such a young man. And he's doing it in this match. He's now 4 clear at 6-2. John Moody faces a long, long road back from here. Tolian Han has added another one against Shane Wolford, now leading 3-0.
Yeah, I think maybe Reinhold and DeLuna have won both those matches, I think, anyways.
Yeah, DeLuna's just won. He's beaten Daniel Maciel 9-7. And now could face former runner-up Aloysius Yap, who's leading 5-3 against Kyle Akaloo.
Yeah, Akaloo, I believe, I was over there watching. I think he was ahead 2-0 to start that match. So.
And Reinhold has won. Clash of the former Mosconi Cup players. It's the vastly more experienced of the two who's been beaten. Reinhold seeing off Mika Immonen 9-8. Reinhold will now face another veteran, Torsten Homan, who beat Yuma Dorner by 9 racks to 6.
Yeah, well, Chris, you haven't mentioned his name much this year, just taking a lot of time off. Felt like he was kind of spinning his wheels with his own game, not knowing exactly the direction he was heading, and had a little, 4 to 6 month layoff off the big events, and it looks like it's done well for him so far. All right, elevated over the pink. This is where you kind of simplify the shot, how you like to make the ball. The three's pretty open.
Really starting to have the feel of a match where Moody has perhaps missed his opportunity. Could have put Filler under some pressure, turned it into a close finish. Instead of which, now a huge gulf between them, and Filler is really relaxing into the contest.
Watch out, cue ball. This is going to be difficult to get on the 5.
Over on table 2, Jesse Engel seemed to be attempting to bank the 9 to go into a 7-6 lead over Moritz Neuhausen. He's missed. He's left Neuhausen with one of those horrible shots that it's a really difficult pot, but you know in your heart you've got to go for it. That be a fair comment, you think, about the shot?
Absolutely, Michael. Your game's evolving like these other youngsters. Yeah, the safety's just as difficult trying to clip the ball and run the cue ball, so he's definitely going to have a go. Just like Mr. Moody with the short cue, it appears.
Neuhausen has missed that, but not a bad outcome for him. Could have been worse anyway.
Yeah, if he's trying to cut this one could go off the table. Got over pretty easily, actually, with the cue ball. Josh is going to have a pretty mean stretch here. Looks like he usually gets the extension. Now watch how he plays this. Very much like a pull stroke instead of the stroke you'd use with the crutch or the bridge or the, what'd you call it, the moose head?
Yeah, come on, you can see it there.
No, I can see it.
That's a fair comment.
I didn't question it.
Yeah.
I don't know about fair, but you know. See how he's kind of cueing underneath like a regular stroke?
Yeah.
Certain shots will set up for that, and he wants the power to be able to draw the ball. So
this looks very awkward.
Easy to miscue, especially
with
with speed. He's obviously put some time in with it. Corey Deuel was really good at that type of shot. Jesse Engel banks the 9-in long rail to take a 7-6 lead. I think his first lead of the match.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I don't remember him being in front at any stage there.
All right, 2 ways to kick. 3 ways really. You can go the short rail where he's looking now. Don't think the 7's really impeding across the table. That's what I would look at. That way you can get some separation between the 5 and the cue ball. If you happen to not fluke it in, maybe. Surprised he's looking this route. Yeah, I would look across. This is the correct way. Not only the percentage on the hit, anytime the ball's in your peripheral, you know, you get a better feel. You know, if you're kicking kind of behind you, you better, you know, have a real good beat on it because you're trusting just kind of what you're looking at, or not looking at, rather. And he'll cue down, letting the tip position kind of kill the ball. He won't baby it too much. And just like that.
You could tell he knew the moment he made contact with the cue ball that he'd hit it well. And so, it's looking 7-2 all over, and really, you just feel it's becoming increasingly hard for Moody to believe there's any future for him in this match.
Yeah, we always talk about the better players really going, you know, taking advantage of an early match to get some rhythm, used to the tables, your routine. Same thing for Moody. He won his first. So don't let this slow you down and get discouraged. You're going to have to play some more.
Joshua Filler won his first match earlier against Pierre Francesco Garcia by 9 racks to 4. And he's closing in on victory here as well. That's 4 in a row for him. He now leads 7-2 on this opening day of the US Open in Atlantic City. Mieszko Fortunski of Poland has been given a real battle by JJ Fall. He is ahead, but only by 1 at 6-5. Vitaly Patsura has taken the first against Sanjin Pelovanovic. That was a match you were eyeing up earlier. Sullivan Clark 5-3 over Bezar Spahiu. 3-all between Lucas Fracasso Werner and Francesco Candela. Tolian Han still storming along. 4-0 now against Shane Wolford. As we've said, Jesse Engel just ahead of Moritz Neuhausen at 7-6. Filler looking like a man in a hurry to get his day's work completed.
Yeah, and that table that Wolford's on is quite some ways away, but I've been trying to look as much as I can, and I haven't seen him at the table at all. So maybe Han putting a little package together to start that match. Okay, I'd take a chance to get behind the 8 and the pink here with the cue ball coming off the right side. He's going to come off the left, trying to use the 6, I guess, trying to kill the cue ball. It's going to leave an opening. I don't know if the 5 is going to help him or not. A little bit. think it kept him off the offense anyways. Now Josh kick and come across this in the cue ball at the pink. Letting the one come up the table a little bit. He wasn't trying to make that. It was all about the safety. Just caught a little thin, that being the yellow one.
Did his best to miss that one.
Yeah. Good thing he was at a very light speed. Looks like he has to draw into the 9 maybe. This is a little funny. I don't think he can get below the brown 7 off the 3. So I don't know exactly. Can he draw off the side of the 9 and get a little above so where he can get between the 7 and 8 with the cue ball? Yeah, like where he's looking there. Now that would be going forward where he was talking. I thought he could just draw into the 9 and get that kind of same line. So all speed control. Pretty good.
Just one observation I would have made, Jeremy, from previous US Opens I've been to, and again here on this opening day. We talk a lot about how it's the Europeans and the Asians who are providing the star names that are coming through more than the Americans in recent years. But when you come to something like this, you're really reminded how big a pool culture there still is in America, and participation in terms of numbers is still huge.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, when it comes to pool in America, we have it all. You know, I mean, every part of the culture where, you know, it's great in so many areas on the professional side, but, you know, when it comes to the amateur side of pool, you know, some of the fun stuff with the action and whatnot, you know, Derby City Classic is such a big name in the sport, and you know, we really still have every bit of the game, and we got to come along a little better on the pro side, and that's happening, which is a good thing. But I think the juniors has grown so much in America, and again, the amateur side of pool, it's a huge sport.
Another ball that Moody somehow managed to see disappear despite his best efforts to miss it. He's really making hard work of this, but he's getting there, and there's a real chance now to snap his streak of losing 4 in a row. Shane Wolford has got a rack on the board now, but 4-1 down against Tolian Han. He's the player, of course, who teamed up with Lucius Yap to reach the World Cup final for Singapore last year.
Yeah, really his play in a couple of those matches is why they went so far, really kind of pulling his opponent along. That's how it is in doubles sometimes. You can see how John, you know, put that win together earlier, right? I mean, cueing the ball nicely, not afraid of a little spin here and there, and the pattern's been pretty good when there's been a problem.
Missed a tester of a 9-ball into this pocket earlier in the match. This one really shouldn't be a problem. And there's still some pool to be played here. John Moody had lost 4 in a row, but he's taken that one. Fuller's lead is now 7-3. See Cha Cheng, quarter-finalist last year, leading 4-1 now against Gerson Martinez. Jesse Ingle 7-6 in front of Moritz Neuhausen. Sullivan Clark has a 6-3 lead over Bezar Spahiu. And Mieszko Fortunski a couple clear of JJ Fall at 7-5. So we're into the later stages of this first day of play. Tomorrow it'll basically be the other half of the draw. And then the day after that is when we complete winners and losers qualification, and we'll have our final 64.
I'll tell you, I don't know if it's something you could depend on with the 9 on the spot, but he's made the corner ball a few times, and you know, if a player can depend on that happening, oh, it got kissed in there, so that's a big difference. But most of the players are saying the corner ball's not going for them that much. That's why they're trying to make the 1 on the side. But when you don't make the 1 and happen to make the corner ball, it seems like the 1's coming around a couple rails and giving up a lot of shots. Kind of in between here. Got a little angle, maybe hard to hold on the side rail. Not a ton of angle to move out to the center. Probably some kind of slow speed. Stay on the left long rail with the cue ball. Tell you what, Filler wants to attack here. He's going to play the bank combination, trying to catch the 1 or catch the 2 with the 1 coming off the bottom rail. That way the 1 goes to the side rail as the cue ball goes up table and gives some type of position after the bank combination's made. Thing is, he can hit it with speed into the second rail and let the 1 just kind of escape from that pocket. I kind of like that better. I feel like if you roll it, trying to hit it really like perfectly, you could trap yourself after pocketing the 2. So if he's going to go here, I like him really putting some speed on it, like a center ball, and let the cue ball swing around as the 1 makes the 2 and comes away. Now, he played the softer speed, so he's going to have to control a lot. And look at the shot he's left himself. Nothing easy. But, you know, as a pool fan, I don't mind these tough ones. That way we get to see something special. You see him throw the hands up. No safety, really, so he's going to elevate the cue. Trying to put a lot of zip on this, bringing the cue ball back for the red 3.
One of those shots that really underlines the tightness of the pockets nowadays. In fact, under the old pockets, that one might have gone in twice.
Yeah. May have gone in right then, and it would have certainly gone in on the rebound. Okay, I mean, 7-4 is a decent lead, of course, but oh my, is this going to, well, he is a little elevated, and I maybe partially hooked. It's close. But I was going to say 7-4, even with a lead and a huge favorite, that's the type of match can get away from you.
Yeah, he was able to get through to it. Yeah, and he's okay here once again. Yeah, great chance now to make it 2 in a row, which he hasn't done at any stage of this match.
No, we've seen a couple of these missed already today by players. They're really on top of the ball. They do have a playable shot, but hard to judge. I think he needs to come off the end rail with the cueing, but we'll see. No, he's all right.
Jesse Ingle is in play with a chance to be first to the hill at 8-6 against Moritz Neuhausen, but he's just played a very poor shot in attempting to pop the 3.
Yeah, that one missed by some mark, really. Don't overthink it here, John. Just go forward a little bit. No, nothing real pressing. You know, you can't always do what you want to do, but it's more about what's necessary. You can see these balls pretty open. You could try to get above the 7. I don't see the point. Just stay underneath. Yeah, that's what I mean. The English doesn't quite take, and that's a little bit experience that John doesn't have. Type of shot that's easy to overcut for some reason. Sweet.
Boy, he's made hard work of this. It's been very laboured. Doesn't matter though, because he's seen it through and won back-to-back racks for the first time in this contest. So far from over. 7-4. Let's look at some scores then. Tom Staveley, British player, has won the first against Mark Boisterbosch, who so nearly won the Spanish Open earlier in the year. 6-3 for Sullivan Clark of New Zealand over Bizarre Spahiu. Mieszko Fortunski is on the hill now at 8-6 against JJ Fall. Lucas Fracasso Werner of the United States, Mosconi Cup contender, leading Francesco Candela 5-3. Max Lechner, runner-up here last year, has won the first couple of racks against Win Kong Tan. Alexa Peichels has won the first against Kang Lee, who we saw playing for South Korea in the World Cup. Abdullah Al-Yusuf also winning the first against Danny Hewitt. And Si Cha Chen has now got a 5-1 lead over Gerson Martinez. Lucius Yap going well now, 6-3 against Kyle Akalu. Back to 7-4 here. The dream lives for John Moody Jr. Keeping up to date from that great match going on over on table 2. Moritz Neuhausen has just levelled once again at 7-all with Jesse Ingle. Oh, 3's got away from him here a bit. Well, a lot in fact. I realised quickly what he'd done there.
Yeah, he had to gamble a little bit thin on the 2. He had to kind of bend the ball a little, dodging the side with some draw, and knew he was going into the 3. Just a matter if he could contain it or not. Wants to shave this one right here and come up the side rail. Smart shot.
Joshua Filler back at the scene of one of the heaviest defeats of his career 12 months ago. He's looking good, got to the last 16 of this US Open. An excellent catch, he beat him by 10 racks to 1.
All right, Josh can get between the 8 and 9, and you figure he's going at it down on the ball for a long time, so that's normally not a kick shot or coming behind it.
Filler looking to get to the hill here. And if this does finish in the next few minutes, then well, get a chance to dip in on table 2. That close finish between Moritz Neuhausen and Jesse Ingel. All of that will be before we see Anton Raga, runner-up in the European Open, facing Chang Yu Lung on the main table. And they may not have to wait too much longer, because Joshua Filler has reasserted himself here, and he leads 8-4. Danny Hewitt of Canada has levelled at 1-1 with former World Championship semi-finalist Abdullah Al Yusuf. John Moody Sr., I believe, is just starting on table 15 against Shane Van Boning. Si Cha Chen now 6-1 up against Gerson Martinez, with the winner to face David Al-Kadi. One more needed for the 2019 champ.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing he's doing. He's dialing that break in more and more, it seems. I don't think he's going to get much offensive here. I think it should be the safety behind the group, the 9, 6, and 5. It's like a jumping kick from behind it with a little side spin as well. Cue ball actually will curve while it's jumping. Didn't get the spin though. So ball in hand here in rack 13 to possibly end this match. Players that get through 2 today have tomorrow off. Come back Wednesday. Some of the lost players, a certain little handful of them, will play their 3rd round. Or 3rd match of the event, rather, tomorrow evening. Most will move on to the next day.
Thing is, Josh won't know what to do with his day off because Pia's not here with him.
She'd probably send instructions. I know there's probably a McDonald's near.
It's just sickening, isn't it? When you see these young guys, they can eat whatever they like, and just look how thin he still is.
Yeah. By design, though, Josh, I'm sure gets his exercise in like most all the great players these days. It's a real sport, that's for sure. All the traveling, and I think just really as stressful a sport as it is, that the exercise has got to help. I wasn't one that would be in the gym, but I would be out sweating some kind of way or another, golf or whatever.
Joshua Filler might have been sweating a bit himself. His 7-2 lead turned into 7-4. It looks as though for the 2nd time today he's going to be a 9-4 winner. Not exactly where he intended to leave it there, but this isn't a problem for him. And that will be that. John will be left with a touch of the Moody blues about some of the opportunities he missed there. Joshua Filler missed a few as well, but he's finished strongly. He's won 9-4. We'll be seeing him again here in Atlantic City on Wednesday.